You get that black belt in Okinawa. We made a video about it on your YouTube channel, so please check that out. Where do you go from here? Do you continue going back to Japan, get more stripes in that black belt?
Well, first of all, came back home, had a bit of a long recovery from Okinawa. Physically, mentally, like I was overtrained, underfed, had emotional damage from everything there. Yeah, I took some time off. My coach was still there training, so I was kind of running the group a little bit for him. And it was a hard time. I was losing a little bit of the love for the training. And I was also trying to become like a coach myself. And first year, it was more like just getting back to life and teaching for him. Slowly built like a good amount of students. By the time I was 21 years old, I had like 2 gyms and a couple more groups. I was doing a ton of privates and just making a good living off of coaching. So I was happy with it. But every Saturday, 5 a.m., I would tune in to UFC. Not even every Saturday. At the time, it was like every 3 or 4 weeks there was an event. So you would be hyped as hell. You would wait for it. And like I would watch it. And always I started having this voice in my head that like, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do some MMA. But the first thing is like not even outside, even inside your body, you're like the little voice that tells you, nah, this is not for you. It's not the sport you're doing. But slowly the passion grew for the MMA. So one day we received a group text in the WhatsApp group of the black belts in the gym. Hey, they're doing an MMA show. It's going to be like Ultimate Fighter style. And does anybody want to do it in Israel? So there's going to be MMA fights. You're going to be living in a house. There's going to be like a reality show. And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm in. So I start training for it. And by training, I mean like doing karate, running, and having a friend who's a judo brown belt come in and grapple with me. And he was a judo brown belt who hasn't trained in like 15 years. But he kind of showed me whatever he could, and we kind of made it work, kind of. By the time I was ready to get on the show never happened. It got canceled, kind of fell off. But I was already like, I had my mindset that I want to do MMA. So I bought a flight ticket to Las Vegas.
Did you just messing around with kind of that judo initially? Like you already started to like grappling, having a striking background for so long? Did that take time for you to sort of like embrace? How did you initially react to that?
Dude, like the grappling we were doing, it was very rough. I would say that until I came to Vegas, I didn't really know any jiu-jitsu. It's like those videos where you see somebody doing an arm bar. He has the arm, but both legs are like on the stomach. Nothing's isolating the shoulder. This is kind of a little bit like the grappling we were doing, but also we were going live. So I kind of learned a little bit to handle myself and like keep my elbow close and kind of, go into turtle shell mode and all this stuff that you do need when you grapple. So when I did come to Vegas and actually started taking jiu-jitsu classes, I didn't know anything, but I knew like, okay, don't give your arm, don't give your neck, stay tight. Like just stiff my way out of stuff and not get put into...
Survive the rolls.
Survive the rolls, yeah. Basically, I would like roll 5 rounds and I'd be like, I didn't get subbed.
I mean, that's pretty impressive already, right? I mean...
Yeah, I didn't sub anybody either. And some would say I was like playing it safe in a way that like, of course I'm not going to get subbed when I'm not attempting anything. But usually people who don't know nothing will get subbed.
100%.
And if I wasn't attempting nothing, I knew how to stay safe to not get subbed, at least by like blue belts, purple belts, that sort of level.
Going back to like, you get that black belt in Japan, did you just have like this very strong emotion of now what?
So when I got my black belt, there was a very clear now what, because that was my goal always, like to become a teacher. So I wanted like since I started training at 15, and I got into things, I was like, this is what I want to do with my life. I want to become a coach. So what do I need? Oh, I need my black belt. I need the training. I need this and that. But I couldn't see myself as anything else but like a coach, a martial arts trainer. So there was a very clear now what. But once I did start teaching, and it was very rewarding, and I did love it, At some point, I'm like 21 years old, and I'm telling people all day, like, oh, you guys do push ups, you do sit ups, you do this, you do that. But I'm just getting kind of fat and lazy. I wasn't really fat, but I felt fat. I felt like I'm being, when all of a sudden it would be like once a week we would train. And because I was teaching all day so much, I didn't have time to train myself. So once a week we would train, and I'd feel like so out of shape. I'd get winded so fast, I'd get tired so fast. And I was like, this is not it. It's not possible that I'm 21 years old and I'm already starting to regress in my training, and something that I don't like. And I felt like could be my future is like, oh, you just become a fat piece of shit in a gi and you go collect your certificate with your next degree every few years.
When you're in your 40s and 50s, that's the position you kind of end up in because
Yeah.
your testosterone's dropping. Now you're guiding the next generation. You are the next generation and you're already in that position. So you must have felt very confused.
Yeah. Also, of course, there's the thing that like now you don't have an athletic goal anymore because you are like a teacher. You're like, oh, I want this student to become a belt by a certain time, so I need to teach him this and that. Oh, he's got weak legs, we need to work on his legs. This guy's got no flex. What about me? I'm training once a week. Okay, maybe a little bit more, but once a week is like hard black belt training. And again, every time I go there, because it's once a week, I just feel in lesser shape than I was last week. So it just gets worse. It's like one torture a week and you have nothing to build upon. So it did feel like, okay, something's wrong. This is not the path that I feel I should be on.
Just generally, when you're sparring at that black belt level, did you already recognize that regardless of belts, you were better than everyone else?
So the funny thing is, I wasn't beating everybody at the gym. Actually, this is one of the things that people would use, or even I would use, to get me off becoming an MMA fighter. So for example, when I decided and I told my coach I was going to be an MMA fighter, I wanted to be an MMA fighter, during the few months before I actually flew to Vegas, would tell me stuff like, well, you don't know any jiu-jitsu. What are you going to do over there, right? Sounds like reasonable, but they told me, get a brown belt first and then start MMA. To this day, I'm not a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. I would have been in Israel to this day waiting for my brown belt in jiu-jitsu if I listened to this advice. So there's a lot of advice from people who never done it. They're going to tell you how to do it. Another one was first become Israeli MMA champion before you go to the US. There's no such thing as Israel MMA champion at the time. They wanted to just fight and beat everybody. It would have taken years. I wouldn't have gotten the training that I got in Vegas. So in hindsight, the best decision was to get out of the little pond and go to the big ocean and train there, fight there, and excel there. And one thing I even told myself was like, man, I can't even beat Daniel, my friend in the dojo. He's like a head shorter than me. He's a little Tasmanian devil, and we would kick each other's asses, but most of the time he would take it. And I told myself like, Natan, what are you gonna go do in MMA in the US if you still can't beat Daniel every time? So for a little while I was training, I was like, I gotta beat Daniel. It has nothing to do with it. Now that I left the dojo and I actually, went and ventured and trained in Vegas for years, now there's a huge gap in the skill level. But back then with what I had, I couldn't pass him. So if I would have waited to beat Daniel, maybe he would have kicked my ass to this day. But I did leave the nest and go train somewhere else. And that's where I actually had a huge leap.
I think like for people early in MMA, there's a lot of moments that can discourage young athletes because they don't have hindsight. There are people that just don't want to become professional fighters. But in the gym, they're very good, right? You talking about your friend Daniel, I don't know what his road ended up being. I don't know if he ended up wanting to be a professional fighter, but I think...
No, he's an actor.
So yeah, so sometimes you talk yourself out of something when that guy could have been a champion.
I always say like it's not about who's the best, it's about who's left. And it goes in many directions. So one is like, the guy, like Daniel, I always wanted to convince him to become like a bantamweight champion, right? And I believed he could be. It's just not interesting to him. And sometimes you might not be the best guy in the room, but you'll be the one who sticks to it. And a lot of guys either don't want to make a career out of it, or after the first loss, they're like, nah, I don't want to do this. And I always tell also, like, if you look at records on Topology, you'll see that a lot of people fight until their first loss, and that's it. And you'll see a lot of records that are like, early fights. People are not sure if they want to do this. They're 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, or at least they climb to a point until they get that first one, that first loss, and usually they don't stick around. So there's a lot of skilled people that lost to me, to friends of mine that I say, hey, they could have been great. Maybe if they knew that I was going to make it to the UFC and that's the level of opposition they had, maybe they would have given it another chance. And some did and did pretty well. But also a lot of people either quit after that first loss or they break mentally and in their confidence after that first loss. And then they go on a losing streak before they end up retiring. Those who lose and keep going, those are the ones who are left and might actually make it through persistence. So it's not about who's the best, it's about who's left. If you stay the course, usually you make it.
You get your black belt in Okinawa. Did you ever go back after that black belt?
No, I didn't. I actually never been to Okinawa ever since. Obviously, I was busy teaching and training and always had something because this is life. And I was also very traumatized from Okinawa and wasn't in a rush to go back. And in 2017, I had like my first 4 amateur fights and I broke my hand in my last fight. I was in Israel for, I don't know, 6-9 months to recover. And I had a friend and he just finished the army. And he told me, yeah, I'm flying to Tokyo to do some Kyokushin karate. Do you want to join me? I told him, sounds fun, I'd love to, but I'm busy, I'm training, I have Vegas on my mind, I'm saving money to fly again to Vegas. Anyway, his father told me, like, look, he's young, I don't want him to go alone, please go with him. And he got my flight ticket. So I said, you know what, sure, I'll come. Kyokushin I never done before, and it's a very aggressive, fighting-oriented style, less katas and all of this. So it sounded fun. But when we got there and we met the trainer, his name is Shianautu Ovanesyan. He's an Armenian karate master that trains and teaches in Tokyo, in Kawaguchi, Saitama. And so very quickly, the training was very hard. We were pushed to the limit over there. But also very quickly, I remembered that karate is not only the kicks. It's not only the footwork. In my mind, I was like, yeah, let me go get some karate footwork in, some karate kicks. It's not only that, it's much more. And it kind of reignited my passion for karate that I hadn't done in years due to training MMA. And after that, I started flying to train with him every couple years.
What is the karate style that you got your black belt under originally?
So I got a 3rd degree black belt in Uechi-ryu. It's like Okinawan style. And I got my black belt in Japan, and then later on, right before started MMA, I tested for my 2nd degree and 3rd degree when I was 22. So I got my 3rd degree at 22.
And describe, in your perspective, the differences of those two karate styles.
So Uechi-ryu is also pretty aggressive, and we used to spar, no gear, no shin pads, no cups, no gloves, nothing. We would actually, for a long time, even punch each other in the face and kick each other in the groin. Everything went when we sparred.
This is in Okinawa.
This is in Israel. And then slowly they started to have a little reform. And when we flew to Okinawa and trained there, they would tell us, hey, don't hit the face, don't kick the groin. So other than that, it was pretty much full contact karate. And also I think the Uechi-ryu, it's a lot more focused on forms. So again, we would do a lot of sparring, but we would also do a lot of forms and then kicking each other and punching each other and body conditioning, which is old school. Some would say it works. Some would say it doesn't. I actually don't believe it works that much.
Okay.
I believe that you get used to getting hit. I don't believe that your muscle develops another layer or whatever that gets stronger. Like, I don't think that happens. I don't feel if you kick me when I'm doing like body conditioning, I think it's just like kind of like a mental thing of like getting used to it. So after getting punched in the stomach for years, I could stand there and let anybody hit me and just take it. And actually, after years of MMA, I kind of lost that skill a little bit. But when you do it for a couple weeks, it comes back. So I think it's more like a mental thing that like actually building layers of bone or building something in your nerves and your muscles.
Do you just feel like it never benefited you in terms of like if you were going to get hit really good in the stomach, it's over either way?
Yeah, exactly. Like you're not gonna be ready for it, then it doesn't matter how tight you can hold it, right? You're not ready for the body shot, you're usually gonna fall.